Alright, folks, buckle up because South Africa's political scene is serving up more drama than a season finale of your favorite soap opera. Picture this. The Democratic Alliance (DA) has just thrown a massive spanner in the works by rejecting a proposed value-added tax (VAT) increase. This move isn't just a minor disagreement, it's shaking the very foundations of President Cyril Ramaphosa's coalition government.
The only issue in terms of the budget has been the question of VAT. And we have always argued as the ANC that right from the onset, when Treasury came up with 2%, we did not agree. We did not agree, but we ran out of options in terms of what we need to do, except to cushion us to have a 0% intervention, which is not permanent. As our economic situation increases, not increases, our economic situation is perfected. This 0% is not permanent, will be withdrawn. And then also, there's a whole lot of other things on the basket that have been addressed going forward. Even the spending, those issues, President put them long before us that they need to be addressed. The DA raises that particular issue. We say, but it has already been addressed. Some of the issues that have been addressed do not belong to the budget now. We need to engage on them, but people want agreement that there should be guarantees that these matters will be addressed, and so on. They raise issues of devolution and all of that. We are addressing the question of devolution in terms of government in the rail policy.
So the proposed wording to be added to 6.288 is as follows. This committee amends the fiscal framework to reduce consolidated revenue for 2025 and 26 by 13.5 billion. Likewise, to reduce consolidated revenue for 26-27 by 29.844 billion and for 27-28 by 31.616 billion. This committee amends the fiscal framework to reduce consolidated expenditure by 13.5 billion. Likewise, to reduce consolidated expenditure for 26-27 by 29.84 billion and for 27-28 by 31.61 billion. Finally, this committee amends the revenue proposal to reject the 0.5% VAT rise due to begin on 1 May 2025, as well as the additional increase proposed for 26-27, thus bringing proposals in line with the revenue amount in the amended fiscal framework. Chair, those are the words we would propose. I am now sending those words to the committee secretary to include. My final comment on this would be, we're not making comments here on where the money should come from and go to. We're simply amending the fiscal framework to take out a VAT increase. I trust that that has the support of this committee. Thank you.
This morning I signed these papers. These are crucial papers that are going to really change the face of how these decisions are taken in Parliament and change the decision to increase your VAT. It will ensure that we prevent that. And these papers have two parts. The first is to get the process on the 1st of April that transpired in the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Finance declared null and void because they were unprocedural. Therefore, to set aside any decision they took. And the second part of Part A is to interdict a VAT increase on the 1st of May. So that's an urgent case to interdict a VAT increase. The second part of these papers is to get Section 7.4 of the VAT Act declared unconstitutional because it gives the Minister the power to enforce a VAT increase without taking it through Parliament and without the need to have the fiscal framework and other legislation required passed in Parliament. So it gives the Minister legislative powers to pass laws simply by making a statement. And we know that that is unconstitutional, and we want the court to declare it now.
Today was a process of considering the fiscal framework. this committee that sat today has the power to override the minister's suggestion. So if we amended the fiscal framework today, we could have removed any indication that there will be VAT in months to come, and we've missed that opportunity because ActionSA, along with a procedurally flawed system, was able today to get a majority vote in the committee. And just to be clear, this included ActionSA, the IFP, and the ANC with a 6-5 vote, and they ended up voting for a fiscal framework that will impose a 1% tax on South Africans in the form of VAT over the next 2 years. We'll be opposing this in Parliament tomorrow. I'm doing a call now on all parties that are like-minded and level-headed to oppose a VAT increase for South Africans in the vote tomorrow. After that, there will be three votes coming up. That's the Division of Revenue Act, it's the Appropriations Act, and finally the Tax Laws Amendment Act. At each one of those, we will oppose any form of increased taxation on South Africans. Not only that, we'll be looking at the legal aspect of what happened here today. What can be done in court about a procedurally flawed approach, and the fact that we repeatedly indicated to the chair and committee members that for us to just plow ahead, knowing full well that what ActionSA was proposing was not workable, that in fact that does not hold up in court, and we'll be opposing it with every means at our disposal, including the legal route. The DA has proposed at various junctures and across 2 attempts at the budget to propose alternatives that doesn't punish South Africans with more tax. While we've been open-minded and we've taken a posture of collaboration with our partner, the ANC has failed to agree to the reforms that we need to get the economy going, and if we get the economy going, for our revenue to increase over time so that we don't need to increase taxes. And because of this refusal from the ANC to agree to reasonable, politically neutral measures, I have now been mandated to go into this committee and amend the fiscal framework such that there will be no VAT increases. Thank you very much.
So, the burning question is, are we on the brink of a coalition collapse over this budget brawl? Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of this political saga. First off, let's set the stage. South Africa's coalition government is like a delicate house of cards, with the African National Congress (ANC) and the DA as its main architects. But recently, the DA decided to play the role of the rebellious teenager by voting against the national budget. Their beef: a proposed 1% VAT hike spread over 2 years. The DA argues that this tax increase would hit the poorest citizens the hardest, and they're not wrong. VAT is a regressive tax, meaning it takes a bigger bite out of lower-income folks' wallets. The DA's stance is clear: they won't stand by and watch the most vulnerable bear the brunt of fiscal adjustments. Now, rejecting a budget isn't just a symbolic gesture, it's akin to pulling the pin on a political grenade. The ANC, already walking a tightrope after losing its parliamentary majority in 2024, is now scrambling to keep the coalition intact. The DA's dissent has thrown a spotlight on the ideological chasms within the government, making everyone wonder if this coalition is built on solid ground or just political quicksand. But wait, there's more. The DA isn't just stopping at a parliamentary, nay, they've taken their grievances to the courts, challenging the legality of the budget process. They claim that the proposed VAT hike is not only unfair but also procedurally flawed. This legal maneuver adds another layer of complexity to an already tangled political web. President Ramaphosa, ever the pragmatist, has initiated a 30-day review to explore alternative revenue-generating measures. However, he's not exactly brimming with optimism about finding a magic solution. The reality is, the government's coffers are running low, and options are limited. In the midst of this turmoil, smaller parties like ActionSA have seized the moment to flex their political muscles. By siding with the ANC to pass the budget, they've positioned themselves as kingmakers, highlighting the fragile nature of the coalition and the ever-shifting alliances within South African politics. So, what's the takeaway from this political rollercoaster? The DA's rejection of the VAT increase has exposed the fault lines within the coalition government. It underscores the challenges of balancing fiscal responsibility with social equity, especially in a nation grappling with economic disparities. As the 30-day review period ticks down, all eyes are on the ANC and DA to see if they can bridge their differences or if this coalition is destined for a dramatic breakup. In the end, this budget battle is more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's a litmus test for the resilience and cohesion of South Africa's coalition government. Will they find common ground, or are we witnessing the beginning of the end for this political partnership? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure: South African politics is never short on drama. Stay tuned, folks, this saga is far from over.